guys, welcome back. It is Lupa here. It's August 19th, the first day of the fall 2025 school semester. This is like the 19th time I've tried this. I've been at this for an hour. Things keep going wrong. I'm almost done with my coffee. I have the vanilla latte from Starbucks. I chat a lot, so I would highly suggest you grab a drink, a snack, or get to that chore you've been putting off. I'm a chatterbox. You don't necessarily have to see me, and I'm sure the lighting and angles aren't that great. But today we're going to be talking about this semester and where we are now and the challenges I already foresee and what I feel like the semester might go. I do have a bit of anxiety from last semester, but I'm trying to tell myself this one's gonna be different, but it's gonna be okay, right? So I would really appreciate it if you guys do enjoy this video, if you would like, subscribe, share, and comment down below. I would love to hear your experiences. If you guys have any advice about school, that would be fantastic. I would also appreciate if you guys hit that notification bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Being that I've done this for an hour already, I don't really have a lot to say, being that I'm not going to campus, which is so relieving, and we are going to get into that. I'm not going to be having Zoom classes, which is even, it's not, having Zoom classes is not a challenge for me very often, but it is quite stressful, but not having it's also a good thing this semester. And that brings me to how and why I'm not going to campus and why I don't have Zoom classes. So for those that don't know, I do have a whole playlist on university experience, so if you guys want to go check that out to know a little bit more about what the last semester was like, I would suggest to do that and then come back to this video. I will, or if I remember, I will link that playlist down in the description, or if I don't, I will link it down in the comments and pin it. So to review a little bit about last semester I was having problems with professors and them not giving me accessibility to their assignments, to textbooks. There was a lot of miscommunication. There was not a lot of communications, I should say, being that a lot of conversations were done in person. When we visited the topics, things were said differently, and it was raw when it was on email and stuff like that. So that's kind of my fault, because I couldn't pull it up and said, hey, this is what you said last time, and it was a really big thing. And then around the time where everyone was finally getting on track, I should say, and doing what they needed to do, my technology, which I use Adaptive Technology, gave out. So overall it was a bad semester, and I also made a lot of assumptions from previous experiences at community colleges, and I presumed that it would be similar. In the past, when I was in community college and on both campuses, what I would do is I would connect with the Student with Disabilities office, letting them know what the problems were and the emails I had sent to professors and yada yada. And what they would do is reach out to directors or chairmen, women, and things like that, and then we would come together and solve the problem, right? I thought that was the same thing here, but here I was told that it's not exactly that way. Yes, the OSD will help you and tell you who to reach out to, but it's not like they do it like they used to do it at community college. And I also misunderstood some things from OSD. So again, there was a lot of misunderstanding, miscommunication, no communication at all in some instances. So it was just a bit of a mess. And then to top it all off, I get anxiety, on campus, and transportation for me is very overwhelming. I live it's about, with no traffic, is about a 20-minute drive to campus. With traffic is anywhere between 40 to an hour, 35 maybe. But on access, 99% of the time, it was over 2.5 hours. And I'm either getting there so late, there's no point to get into class, or I'm getting there so early, I'm just sitting there doing, being stressed out. I don't know why that campus stresses me out so much. It starts, my mind starts bringing up worse scenarios when I'm on that campus, and it is mentally and emotionally quite exhausting. And so I knew I couldn't do it. And so when I spoke to my counselor, I'm in the ethnic studies department. They don't call them departments, I think they call them colleges here at the school. And so I kind of dragged my feet in reaching out to her, because I was like, I don't know if I could go another semester with the way the last one went. But then I'm like, I'm so close. It's the same situation from community colleges. I wasn't thinking about giving up. I was just overthinking. I was stressing out, and I was like, you know what, you just have to meet with your counselor to advise you on your fall 2025 semester, and maybe she can help you and just talk things through. And in this conversation is where I learned that I could have reached out to her. I could personally reach out to the chairwoman from the ethnic studies. And I was like, oh, I didn't know I personally could have emailed it. I'm so used to the Students with Disabilities office doing it for me and opening that communication, So I was like, oh, I could have done that last semester when I was in the middle of trying to get these professors to get these things accessible to me. But I didn't know. The counselor was like, you could have reached out to me too, you could have not just, we could have worked things out. She also mentioned you could file a grievance report about everything that happened. But I feel like, being that I was also having problems on my end with my technology, with transportation, with my mental health, I was like, it cannot all be put on the professors. I'm like, maybe at that time I thought I was doing everything I could, but because I was so overwhelmed, maybe I wasn't, I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, the chair is already aware, you're aware. I'm like, I guess the chair spoke to one of the professors, and they're like, she never came to class. I'm like, I stopped going to class because I thought I dropped the classes. But that was another thing. In community college, I could go into my student portal and drop the classes before a set time. And usually that's like at the end of the semester, like 3, maybe 4 weeks before finals week, a student could drop a class with no particular paperwork being done. But here at university, you do. And I didn't know that. And I'm like, I didn't know that I needed to do paperwork. I just dropped it and it said dropped, and I'm like, okay, it's done. But what I didn't know is that there was a little pop-up message that popped up on the screen, and VoiceOver didn't read it. So I'm like, darn it, things like that are so frustrating to me. But apparently I didn't drop, and so this professor, like, she didn't come to class. And when I was actively going, still attending, when I was still trying to make, I think I think I didn't go to class about 3 times, and 2 of them were because of access, and one of them was toward the end of it, and I was like, I can't go. And the rest of the time she was on Zoom, or she canceled it. So I don't know if it was because of that. She felt like I didn't go to class, but I'm like, I was in class. It was just, you were all over the place. I was all over the place. And that's why I can't put the blame all on the professors, even though they did not do their job for several weeks when it came to accessibility with their assignments and textbooks and stuff like that, For the other professor, out of the 4 books, I did find one toward the end, and I was like, I'm not about to pay $80 when everyone else has them free, It's not fair. I'm like, you guys have to figure out how to have this accessible. And they finally did have it accessible to me. But again, that's when technology gave out, and it just was all over the place. And then this brings me to the technology. I did have my technology assessment. You guys saw that. As I mentioned in that video, it's going to be more than 6 weeks. That's more than half of the semester gone with no technology. I'm afraid I'm going to have the same challenges that I had in the spring because I don't have the technology that I need. I'm so nervous about it. I'm kind of stressing out, but I'm trying to calm myself. I'm like, you're coming to the semester knowing this. I'm like, you have your phone, you have your laptop, do the best you can with that. And I don't know how successful I'm going to be, but I'm going to try my best. I'm just grateful that's going to be at the beginning of the semester, which last time it was toward the end of the semester, which is where things get really fast-paced and crowded with major assignments and stuff like that. I have been on Canvas. One class is still not up. The other class is weird because it says I'm missing an assignment. I went to go look, and like the due date was like April 14th, and I'm like, what? So hopefully the professor fixes that. And the other two classes, I've gone through them. Their modules are still not really up, but I've gone through everything that I could. I've finished all the assignments that I could, and it's already about 12:30 on the first day of class, and I have done everything I could, and we will see how the semester goes. I will definitely do an update at the end of this week, which will be on Sunday. So if I can remember, I'll record on Sunday because I want to be more current with my updates, and so that when I do the 3 week, 8 week, and then the end of the semester, it's not so crowded with my thoughts, and we can just do overviews on those videos, you know. Being that I'm only going to communicate with the professors via email, I'm going to start that by sending introductory emails this evening. I'm going to send them, hey, you know, my name is so-and-so, I'm in your so-and-so class, just wanted to reach out to see if you have been notified about my accommodations, and that will open up communication between me and the professor, and yeah, so that we're all aware, and that we're all aware that we are aware that we're all on the same page of my accommodations, you know. And so yeah, we're going to be doing that kind of updates at the end of the week, see how everyone reacts, replies, how everything feels with the modules. I was told during the technology assessment that the Braille Sense 6 does work with PDF files, which is super exciting. Because the VoiceOver doesn't do it, maybe what I can do is download it onto a thumb drive and then put that into the Braille Sense, which I have done in the past. So I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. And DOR, which is the program or department outside of school that helps me with technology, with mobility and orientation, with anything that I need that will help me with school, which they're like 40% of my stress levels since the beginning of the first day of community college. It's kind of a relationship where you hate them, but you need them kind of thing. And it's not that I hate them, it's just that the counselor that I have is rude and isn't very professional sometimes. And if you do something wrong, it's like the end of the world. But if she does something wrong, it's like, oh, we're only human and things happen kind of situation, you know? But yeah, that's what's been going on with me the first day of school. I don't have technology. I might not have it for at least 6+ weeks. I'm so grateful I don't have to stress out about access, which is another thing. We have to schedule it. We have to just generate orders. I had to spend my money on it, which everyone does, but I won't have that stress and anxiety from transportation and campus. I'm sure I will have to go to campus eventually to go really connect with the OSD office this semester. I'm kind of waiting to have my technology. I haven't really connected with them, and I'm already on the 3rd semester, which I know they're probably like cursing me out right now. But I'm like, I want to have the proper technology. Anyways, I need to reach out to my counselor because I forgot to tell her that I'm not doing the grievance report. But if I still needed to email the chairwoman to my side of the story. Anyways, I think we're just gonna end it here, you guys. If you guys have any questions that I didn't cover here, any topics that I didn't cover here, I would really appreciate it. Any advice, any stories of your own, I would appreciate it. And thank you so much for stopping by and listening to me ramble. And we will see you guys in the next one. Good luck, everybody, and we will see you guys later.